everyone, my name is Ronit Nundy and welcome to today's video. And in today's video, I got something quite interesting for all of you. For new photographers and well-seasoned photographers alike, this video is going to be pretty useful for all of you. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my experience with the Nikon 24-120 f4 lens. So let's get right into it. So the lens that we're talking about in particular today is the Nikon 24-120 f4 f-mount lens. Now if you see this lens right over here, this lens has been quite the workhorse for me in my photography journey, because the first lens that I ever got is currently mounted on my camera right now, which is the Nikon 50mm f1.8. Now, I started off working, basically doing wedding photography and all that, so I started to see the need of a wide angle lens. Now, my budget, as usual, wasn't that high, and I need to get something good which would perform pretty good with my Nikon D750, which was my main camera at that time. So I opted for the 24-120. Now this too is a second-hand lens, of course, nothing first-hand here unfortunately, but one day maybe. But still, this lens is pretty good, and I'd say that a whole lot of people are out there who kind of, say that, yeah, kit lenses are not that great, but I beg to differ. They're usable. I'd say that, because look, if you need something really versatile, if you want something that can fit your budget and can give you a good result, if you have the skill, if you have the knowledge to properly expose and get sharp photos, videos, then this lens is good for you if you're on a tight budget. So let's talk about the lens's build quality. Now the build quality is, as you can expect, it's Nikon, it's quite hard, it's rough and tough, and honestly, despite me getting this secondhand, this has been quite good. This lens has given me no major issues at the moment. Now, secondhand lenses kind of carry a bit of danger with them about the whole fungus and, so on and so forth. So if you're buying a secondhand lens, you should always, take a very good look at what you're buying. I lucked out when I checked mine because everything was a-okay with it, and it's been serving me a pretty good 3.5 years, to be honest. So, as per Versatility, this lens is pretty good because you're getting a really wide range. You're getting 24 millimeters and you're also getting the maximum of 120 millimeters. Now, the aperture of this lens starts all the way from 4 and it can go up to 22. Now, bear in mind, most of the usage that I've done with this lens has been with my Nikon D750, and the Z6II, I have used it with the Z6II and it has performed pretty good. But as I said earlier on, if you're looking for something usable and you're on a budget, then you should consider the 24-120, especially the f-mount, because you can get an f-mount 24-120 at a pretty good price in the second-hand market. And because there's the new Z4 24-120, which has, pretty much replaced this guy in the Z bodies, so yeah, you can get an f-mount example of the 24-120 for a pretty reasonable price in the second-hand market. Okay, so if we talk about the drawbacks of this lens, there are quite a few unfortunate drawbacks. Now, to name some, the first drawback which you will see, not exactly drawback, but it is quite the danger. That is that if you open this lens up, this is the way it opens up. Now, if you see right over here, the obvious, there is no protection in this area. So if you slam your lens in that kind of a state against anything, you're really gonna look at a hefty bill for repairs. Now, aside from that, there is one other drawback that this lens kind of suffers from. That is that when you're in tricky light situations, especially during low light situations, the lens really starts to lose its sharpness. Now, once again, this is a kit lens, not some kind of specialty lens. This is meant to be versatile and give you good quality, but nothing wow amazing. But yeah, you can make wow amazing photographs using this lens, no doubt about it, if you know what you're doing and if the lighting is right. Now, I said if the lighting is right. Now, that is something which I have observed with this lens. If the light is absolutely spot on, then you can take some pretty good photographs using this lens right over here. Now, there is another thing that this does have, that it kind of really gives you a really heavy vignetting when you take it all the way to 120. Now, I've used this mainly for wedding photography, event photography, and I've experimented quite a lot with this lens because I used it in street photography, and I also used it for some portraits, a bit of night sky photography, and I also tried my hand at bird photography with this lens. And these are just some of the examples of what I'm talking about. Okay, so now coming down to my absolutely personal opinion about this lens is that it's an overall good lens. If you're looking for something which is quite versatile, if you're looking for something versatile which has good quality, if you have a good knowledge about taking care of photographs in post-production, in Lightroom or any other photo editing software, then you can get this lens, because this lens is really versatile, and because the 24 to 120 range of zoom that it has really comes in handy in all types of situations. However, I'd say that the sharpness really lacks, because once again, this is a budget lens that we're talking about here, and my budget at the time wasn't that high either. So if you're looking for something versatile and you have a pretty tight budget, then you can 100% go for this lens, because this will really have your back. And of course, you can take care of the drawbacks and develop the photo much more better in post-production. Because ever since the Z lenses came out, the f-body lenses have really seen a price drop in the secondhand market, and that really is a lucrative thing, to be honest, because you can get this lens, the 24-120, for a pretty good price, and you can also get the 24-70 f2.8 for a good price too. Because you should get this if you have a really tight budget and if you are okay with good quality. But if you want some exceptional quality, if you want some really good images with nice background blur and a lot more sharpness than this lens provides, then I'd 100% suggest go for the 24-70 f2.8. You'll be enjoying that lens much more. So, should you buy this in the year 2025? Yes, you should. Once again, if you're on a tight budget and you're looking for a pretty good lens, yeah, you can go for this. This is really good. However, if you're taking videos, beware, the autofocus kinda can take its time with this lens, because its focusing is quite slow. However, there is one pretty good backup thing that you get with this, is that this lens comes with VR. Yeah, you heard that right. Vibration reduction comes with the lens. Now, when I used to use this for my videos and photos in my D750, which doesn't have VR, that feature really came in handy to me. But now when I have my Nikon Z6II and I'm using this for supposed videos, it still balances out pretty nicely. So yeah, that is one other good feature about this lens, that you can get vibration reduction with the lens. So yeah, if you want something versatile and are on a budget, get this. If you want something better than this, then I should 100% suggest you go for the 24-70. You'll like that much more better. So that is it for this video. This was just a quick, sort of review of my 24-120, which I've used for quite the time. And yeah, it has pretty good features. If you're doing normal work, it's really good. But if you're doing, high-end studio work, and if you actually have, high-end clients that have a requirement of much more better quality, then I'd suggest that you get the 24-70, because that can give you a lot more better sharpness than this. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for tuning in and supporting my channel. Please do hit that like button and subscribe if you like my content, because a lot more stuff will be coming around soon. Thank you all very much. I'll see you in the next one.